All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, December 10th, 2021. So markets again kind of just sideways here. We talked about this really since Wednesday that we were probably just going to pause for the rest of the week here, and markets trying to set up, trying to put in a little bit of a bullish base to kind of attack the highs here. You can see on the S&P, nice little right angled flag there. The Dow actually leading. That is actually kind of breaking out of that little flaggish formation. So the Dow is leading right now, which typically, again, is not a hugely bullish sign. You want to see the NASDAQ and the Russell leading, and that has not been the case here. The NASDAQ has actually been weak, and there's been absolutely dismal breadth yet again. So it's like every time we get a rally here, it's on absolutely terrible breadth. Basically, Apple is the market. By the way, check out this nice little trend line here on Apple. So we'll see if that offers a little bit of resistance maybe next week there on Apple. But again, the market is basically just Apple at this point. And, even, Microsoft having a nice pop finally, but earlier in the week, wasn't really doing a whole lot. And we talked about Tesla. Tesla's been very soft lately. Finally up 1% here today, but a big beat down yesterday, down 6% there on Tesla. Facebook way off the highs. You have Google. Google's hanging in there okay. Nvidia had a nice run, but that's been chopping around. That may have actually stalled out pretty sharply there at that 340, 350 area. But again, market breadth is back to dismal levels, and that's really been the case since late August. And each of these rallies, it's been on pretty awful breadth, especially in the composite. But, market is holding up for now. We did have a little bit of a pop off of CPI. You can see the market's gapped up a little bit here, then faded a little bit, and then now they're just kind of in float mode, not a whole lot of participation. Market is looking forward to the Fed next week. Now waiting for that. Is there an accelerated taper announcement? That remains to be seen. I can't speculate on that, on what government bureaucrats are going to do. As far as that's concerned, we'll just have to wait and see. We also have next week. Oh, and by the way, prepare for some volatility next week. And I don't necessarily mean like the VIX, but just a lot of up and down, a lot of stocks going to get bounced around. We have a quad witch next week. So quad witch, options X, and the Fed. So the institutions are going to use whatever the Fed says to push the market wherever they want it for quad witch week. So we're going to have some volatile movements. Should be an exciting trading week. Might be quiet Monday, Tuesday, so we might see a little bit of a pause again. Maybe just kind of muted action Monday and Tuesday. But Wednesday, expect some volatility, especially going into the weekend there. So that is what we're looking at. Let's talk about the Russell. So we talked about the Russell being soft, and look at this nice little rollover. It did fill the gap, so it's not terrible. But again, not leading the market here, and you want to see small caps leading. That's going to print a pretty ugly weekly candle there. It is holding the lows here, but that's a pretty bad rollover there on the Russell weekly. So not a good look here, especially with yields creeping higher today. They did finish, or did gap down, but they have recovered nicely. So you want to see the Russell trading up with yields. Diamond again being the strongest index here. The Dow, again, a lot of these kind of safety stocks are playing, are leading the market here. United Health, all-time high there. And of course, Apple, which is a good Dow component, also at an all-time high, obviously. So again, Apple, and we talked about this as well. Like, the crappier stocks, before the market rolls over, the crappier stocks are the ones that get hit first. The Rokus, the Pelotons, Teladoc, Zoom. The best ones, the Apples, the Microsofts of the world are going to hold up better until, the market's ready to finally roll over. Now, I know I was a little bit more bullish earlier in the week and really in the last week. We covered some shorts here last week, and that turned out to be a great decision. And, the thing is, yes, there's too many bears. I just want to clarify this. There's too many bears in the market for the market to just go straight down. But the market can roll over and it can trade lower with a lot of bears in the market. You're just going to have rip your face off rallies in between. So, the best rallies, the most vicious rallies ever come in bear markets, believe it or not. They're short covering rallies, just like how, the market really all summer, there was a lot of bulls in the market, but it was still going up. It's just when there got to be a point where there was too many calls, they had to be washed out. And then you got too many calls and they had to be washed out, and so on and so forth. So let me just clarify. The market can go down with a lot of bears in the market, but it's not going to go straight down. And I've talked about this before. I'm not predicting a crash. I'm predicting more of a choppy bear market for 2022. And you guys know I've done the cycle videos, and if you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. Just look up, it's on my channel. It's the fib cycles, the long-term fib cycles. But that's what we're expecting next year. But the crashes usually come at the end. You know, if you look back at 2007, we'll just take a look at the SPY here. The crash doesn't happen right away. You have a trade down, and you come up and down and up, and then you crash at the very end. So it's usually, a lot of people think, oh, you know, you're bearish, that means you're predicting a crash, 20% drawdown in 4 weeks. No, that's not how markets typically work. Last year was a total anomaly, and that is because they literally shut the whole nation down. I mean, how many times in your lifetime is that going to happen? So just want to clarify that. But anyways, let's talk about some other areas here. So the yield is cracking positive here on the 10-year, but still broker dealers negative on the day here, and XLF also negative. So again, something we need to pay attention to. Financials cannot get a bid and yields are pushing up. That is telling us something. The market's telling us something. But if financials can hold up, the market will be able to hold up. So just keep that in mind. Put that on your radar. XLE flattish to positive today. Let's talk about crude. Again, we talked about how it's just kind of setting up, again, looking like the rest of the market here. You got this move down, and now we may have like a little ABC move up. And, you know, we're seeing that here. You move down and possibly an ABC move up. You can see it on the XLE. You can see it on the semis as well, kind of this kind of bull flaggish type pattern. So crude, again, may want to go up there and hit that 75, maybe up to that 77 handle in the near term, but it's probably has to do some backing and filling. Also OPEX week. So maybe it just grinds sideways into next week. So there's that possibility as well. Let's look at nat gas. So nat gas getting a little bit of a bounce today. We just took 10%, 10.3% on Boyle. We did have that one. We got in Monday, so nice little gain there for us on Patreon. And it does have a nice little weekly candle here. I do like that. It probably trades up next week, but this is probably going lower, to be honest. That's a pretty big breakdown. And, you know, things don't just recover from that right away. That's telling you it wants to go lower. It doesn't mean it can't trade up, doesn't mean it can't get a bounce, but it's probably headed lower in the near term, or at least in the, I would say, the medium term here. But, you know, nice little gain there on nat gas for us on Patreon. Let's move over to gold. So gold, this is a tricky one. You know, depending on how good your artwork is, you could make a case that it's broken down out of this trend line. You could make a case that it's holding the trend line. You know, technical analysis is art. It's not really science. But the point is, it's kind of just in this choppy pattern here. And this does look like a bearish kind of inside bar. So you have the move down, and then you have the chop sideways. Now, near term, you're inside of this big green candle. So maybe, you know, it can trade up here. First test is probably, you know, these moving averages and this 20 moving average. They're all kind of minor, but a psychological level could be achieved if you can get above that. Outside of that, you know, if it heads lower, you know, you're probably looking at, you know, probably going back to the lows if it, you know, starts to break down. But one way or another, we'll see what happens here. They did slam gold into quad witch the last couple of times, so there is that. But it was also coming off of the highs, so maybe this time it gets a bid. We'll see what happens here. Silver, same kind of feel. It is obviously been beaten down. Nice little started to break down. That could be the beginning of a reversal if it has a strong close here on silver. But we'll just continue to watch it. Obviously, gold and silver trade about the same anyway, so you can use one analysis for the other. Platinum. Again, kind of consolidating here. We talked about this. This has been a little bit of a weaker play. And palladium coming off the lows. But again, precious metals just, you know, we just need to, they're in a prove it mode, essentially. And if gold can get back above this, you know, trend line at some point, then, you know, things change very much. But until that happens, you know, we're kind of just neutral on them. I want to talk about copper, though, especially since copper can be an inflation play to an extent. This is still holding this green bar. So technically, this is still a bullish pattern here on copper. I just want to point that out. And it will close above that on the week. We look over on the daily. It's just kind of, it looks sloppy. It looks like it's not, you know, doing a whole lot, but it is holding that bullish pattern. So copper could be in a good position here over the next couple of weeks to move forward. Anyways, just to wrap it up. So again, we're near term, we're putting in bullish consolidation, but I still think that this market is probably in hot water. sometime closer to the end of the year, and we'll continue to monitor that. But anyways, I'll go over a little bit more in depth tomorrow in the video on Wall Street for Main Street. The link is in the description if you want to check that out. You guys like, comment, subscribe, etc. You can subscribe on Patreon and get access to trades like Boyle, 10.3% that we took in a couple of days here. And there will be a lot more of them coming up soon. Anyways, guys, take care. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you all next week.